Good evening to whomever is watching. I'm Zachary Holsworth, and I'm president of PSJA AFT. Welcome to PSJA AFT School Board Candidate Forum. Today we have with us our PSJA Family Matters slate. The candidates that are with us today are Heather Garza for place 4, Ruben Guajardo for place 5, Victor Perez for place 6, and Celso Salinas for place 7. We'd like to remind you early voting starts on October 13th and ends on October 30th, and election day is November 3rd. We hope you find this forum informative, and it will help you make the decision for the future of our district PSJA ISD. We're going to begin by having the candidates give an opening statement, and we'll start with Ms. Garza in place 4. Ms. Garza, can we please have your opening statement? You'll have 5 minutes.
Thank you. And so, hello, my name is Heather Garza, and I have been a servant leader educator for the past 20 years. I am a mother of 2 amazing young men, Mario and Zeke Garza, wife married to Mario Garza for the past 16 years. I am pursuing the honor and the privilege of representing you on the PSG School Board Place 4. I wanted to start by thanking you for all of us to be here to discuss concerns that are important to our employees and union members. First, I'd like to let you know I am pursuing this position to better serve our PSG families while building a robust collaboration with the Tri-Cities of FAR, San Juan, and Alamo. And of course, to keep an open line of communication and collaboration amongst our local, state, and federal agencies. Although degrees are certainly important and having multiple degrees does not ensure or guarantee good behavior or that these individuals will succeed as school board members. What really matters is character, honesty, and integrity. And I believe to have all 3. Like I mentioned, I have 2 wonderful boys who I am so proud to say are PSJ students who have attended Carmen Elementary, Austin Middle School, and now my oldest, PSG Bears High School, Early College. This is in direct contrast to Mr. Zambrano's statements made in the previous forum. And in comparison, if you turn the tables and look at his views and actions, they are very different. They have ensured that their family members who work at the school district are taken care of. Who wouldn't want their parents or brothers to be promoted while the remaining staff members who have been for years are passed over? This to me shows no integrity. So moving on, I am also, I'd like to say, a PSJ North graduating class alumni of 1997. After high school, I pursued my education where I graduated from UTRGV with a Bachelor's of Science, and 7 years later, continued my education and received a master's from the University of Arkansas State. I first started off as a paraprofessional, and as soon as I received my college degree, I tested state teacher exams and passed my PPR and Science Texas exam that has allowed me to be a fully certified secondary science teacher for 7 years. I started my teaching career in Mercedes. I taught there secondary high school for 4 years. And then due to uncertain circumstances, I had lost my first child. And after 4 months of being able to be with her, she passed away from a horrific whooping cough disease. And so my husband and my family wanted me closer to home. And that's when I made the decision to come to PSJA. And so while working at PSJA, I was able to work with Mr. Noyola in Alamo Middle School. And then I transferred up with Mr. Noyola to Memorial High School. It was there where I was teaching secondary science, biology, chemistry, anatomy, and physiology. I then continued to follow Mr. Serna, who had asked me at the time to transfer over to his campus, LBJ, and being a servant leader at heart with Mr. Serna, an amazing educator and a principal, I said yes to the promotion. And so I got to teach with him 8th grade science. During those years with LBJ, I then was able to look into other promotional advances in my career, and that opportunity then came to go back to Mercedes. It was there where I received most of my advancement and opportunities that I am so grateful and thankful for. Opportunities that I received, I was able to become then the math science interventionist, and then a lead teacher, assistant principal, and principal. And one of the most important things that I contribute my success as a leader is being afforded the opportunity to oversee a $4.2 million grant. So the school that I was hired to work for, the superintendent and the assistant superintendent asked me, along with the campus leaders, to write a grant for this specific group of students. Lo and behold, we qualified for the grant, and we were to implement the grant at 100%. It wasn't easy. It took us about 5 years for the turnaround to take place, but it was well worth it. And so these opportunities and working with such a rigorous grant, with working with $4.2 million, it was $1.2 million a year, just specifically for this campus. It was a huge undertaking, but I definitely learned about budget, what it took to ensure that we were sustainable in what we were producing, acquiring for our teachers, the professional development, and also meeting quarterly calls with TEA. We worked on SEL components. We looked at at-risk students, activities for these at-risk students that were going to benefit them. We looked at program monitoring, and again, always at the end, looking for opportunities for student growth, student success, to prepare them for higher education. And so after 5 years of diving in deep in this very intense grant, we afforded students opportunities unheard of. We built a school campus culture that thrived on ensuring students were academically successful. It required all hands on deck, and everybody contributed to the whole. I now oversee the T-STEM program from Mercedes High School and the testing accountability component at Mercedes High School. This has been a wonderful opportunity to continue my education in leadership growth. This is where our future lies if we truly want to serve and educate 21st century students. The goal for T-STEM is not only to work in silo groups with specific students and silo teachers, but this program is something where the state wants us to build it within our PK-12 platform, where all students are fully implementing and all teachers are fully embracing the STEM TEKs and are incorporated into our lesson plans. This is also, too, a huge undertaking. But this is the kind of forward thinking that doesn't happen overnight. And I am so proud to say that I am now being utilized to be part of laying a strong foundation that will be able to get us to the next movement and moment in time. It takes partnerships from our surrounding communities, local government agencies, and within the school and school teachers and campus. And so, to conclude, I am running for school board because of the concerns that have been shared with me throughout the community. As an educator of 20 years, I have been involved in many capacities in education. My personal experience as a paraprofessional, science teacher, lead teacher, math science interventionist, principal, T-STEM testing coordinator make me a great candidate for school board. I have the background knowledge in working collaboratively with teachers, central office staff, curriculum and instruction, custodial staff, cafeterial staff, and maintenance department. I oversaw a grant which was budgeted again over $4.2 million. And so I know how to manage budgets, maintain accurate records that are auditable, and also maintain a safe and healthy environment for all students and staff. I have worked closely with parents and community members to move the campus and district forward. Fundraising for important things such as cancer awareness, Thanksgiving food drives, Christmas drives, etc., have helped me to understand the needs of our community. The pandemic of COVID-19 has been a great challenge for all involved in the district, and I know that teachers are working diligently as our students, all support staff, and parents work together. As a parent, I know firsthand how difficult this pandemic has been on the education of our students, and I am proud at the work our teachers are doing to ensure their students are moving forward. I know it has been very difficult, but we must ensure the safety of our teachers, staff, and students before we go back to face-to-face instruction. All of my educational experience, I strongly feel, make me the better candidate for place 4 on the school board. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Garza. Next, we'll go to in place 5, Mr. Ruben Guajardo.
Thank you, Zachary, and members of the AFT Association. I'd like to thank you for having me here tonight, giving me the opportunity to briefly introduce myself, and I appreciate you guys allowing us to be here. My name is Ruben Guajardo, and I'm running for PSJA School Board Place 5. I am born and raised in the city of San Juan. I'm 47 years old. My parents are Ruben and Elda Guajardo, graduates of the class of 1969. I myself am a graduate of the class of 1991. My wife, her name is Angie Garcia Guajardo. We've been married for over 22 years. We have 3 children. My oldest is 19. His name is Trey Guajardo. He's a graduate of 2018 from PSJA High. I have a 16-year-old daughter. She is currently a junior at PSJA High. Her name is Jenna. And I have a 12-year-old daughter. Her name is Juliana, and she attends Austin Middle School as a 7th grader. After high school, I attended Laredo Junior College under a athletic scholarship where I participated for 2 years. And after that, I transferred to UTPA, and I took courses in criminal justice and business. During that time, I was lucky enough to be employed or get employed by the law office of Rene Ramirez. And I was a litigation specialist there, where we assisted many citizens, and during some troublesome times for them, we helped them with construction defects in their homes, air quality issues, and I'm proud to say that we helped many people in our local PSJA area. During that time, I was blessed, I guess, to develop my own business. It's a sporting goods business, and we've been lucky enough to be in business for the last 10 years. Currently, I'm employed by the city of San Juan as a Parks and Rec director. I'm going on my 4th year there. Actually, I exceeded 4 years in July. And it's a passion I have. I've dedicated myself for over 20 years of serving my community, in different aspects. I've been volunteering at an early age, during as a coach for city leagues. I've participated in city events. I've been a member of boards to benefit our cities. And I just love serving the community. That's something I have a passion for. I'm looking forward to taking this to the next level and again, helping my community and serving my community as a school board member. Again, I want to thank you guys for allowing me to be here again, and I'm looking forward to the discussion tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Guajardo. Next, we'll move to place 6, Mr. Victor Perez. Your opening statement, sir.
Yes, good afternoon, everyone. I'm Victor Perez. I'm your current school board member, and I've been your school board member for 8 years. I've had the honor and pleasure of serving you all and the PSJ community for these 8 years. I would like to thank the AFT and all the moderators that are here tonight and members. I would like to also display my qualifications as the most effective candidate for the PSJ School Board Place 6, which I've held for 8 years. I have a Bachelor of Science from the University of Texas Pan American. I have a Master's in Education Administration from the University of Texas Pan American. Throughout my public office, I've had my share of leadership roles and leadership skills that I've attained and experienced. But most of all, I've served in various capacities as a district administrator for school operations for Progreso ISD. There, I also was the early college program director, the first one there. They created that program, started that program. I was a principal, one of those lucky individuals that got to be a principal at the elementary, middle school, and high school. But where I had some campuses that were recognized, TA recognized. But most of all, I also served as a municipal judge, which I got asked to participate and being that schools were being recognized and were outstanding schools in Progreso. Most of all, I also represented districts in the UAL District Committee Board. I represent the district, and of course, other districts in the main board. I served 12 years in the City Council of Alamo as a city council member and a mayor pro tem. Very happy to say that when I was there, we remodeled several of the municipalities' facilities, created a new and built a new library, a new city hall, fire department. And so we did several things, also a post office while I was in office. So this is some things that I just, had while we were when I was serving in the city council. Also maintained the lowest property taxes, one of the cities that had the lowest property taxes in the county, which I'm also proud of. Brought new jobs, created jobs through all businesses and brought new businesses in town. Before that, I was involved in organizations which I was born and raised in the city of FAR. I was involved with several boards there, Kiwanis Boys and Girls Club, the Baseball League, and the Eagles Lodge. And so I've had my share of experience as a community and volunteer, and also serving on several boards. But currently, I'm the executive director of the FAR Economic Development Corporation. I'm not just the executive director. I always promote and always want to include our PSJ students. And one thing I'm going to share with you is on our contracts that we do with new businesses coming to town, for example, Topgolf, CarMax, and others that we brought in, we include our PSJ students to do some kind of internship. This is huge because no other economic development corporation does that. We do that. Not only that, but with PSJA ISD, STC, UTRGV, and of course, the South Texas College in McAllen. But that is what I do. And we always include our students. So I'm always working for our students. I'm always having the best interest of the students and making sure they have opportunities through our corporation and the city of FAR. We also have, internship that they do with the CATE program and PSJA, and of course the South Manufacturing Organization. So it's me being out there and always having our kids in mind. So I'm so happy to say that I've served you all, and I will continue to serve you all. And I'm very proud to have a wife, a very understanding wife, because this is my 20th year in public office, and I've done the right thing. And you're going to hear some key words of integrity, compassion, dedication, commitment from our slate, because that's what we stand for, and that's what we're going to do. And so going back to my wife, Elizabeth, my 3 boys, Gabriel graduated last year from PSJ Memorial. Isra is an 11th grader. Again, special needs student, which I am also an advocate for and will always be, not because I have a son like that, but because I always have when I was teaching in PSJ. And of course, my son, Victor Perez Jr. And so we go back when I was a teacher in PSJ. I loved it. I enjoyed it. And one thing that I had the opportunity when I got my principalship, I wanted to and wasn't given the opportunity here, so I had to leave. And just like a lot of our people from here from PSJ that were not given the opportunity, they left. And when I left, and then came back as your board member, I promised that I would not allow that to happen anymore, because we have several of our employees that have paid their dues, that paid the price, and waited for an opportunity to move up. And sometimes we don't do that because we bring people from somewhere else. And so again, my vote on the board has always been the best interest of you all. I've been on a 6-1 board, and I will not back down. I've been on a 5-2 board, and I will not back down. And I'm on a 4-3 board right now, and I will not back down, because you are the ones that I care for. It's my community, it's my family that matters, my PSJA family that matters. And so again, thank you so much for this opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Perez. Next up, we have Mr. Celso Salinas in place 7.
Thank you, AFT members and Zach, for having us here. I'm Celso Salinas. I am running for place 7 for the PSJA School Board, representing Alamo. I am a former board member, so I do have the experience to, serve you as a school board member. I am from Alamo, born and raised here in Alamo. I am a product of PSJA. I graduated in 1972. I am the oldest of 9 siblings. I come from a migrant family that we migrated when I was young out of state to work doing seasonal farm work. And through the support of my parents, who taught me hard work and education is very important, I was able to graduate from high school in 1972. And because I migrated to the state of Michigan, where I was working as a migrant, I was fortunate to apply for a full grant scholarship and attended the Central Michigan University in Mount Pleasant, Michigan, and graduated in 1976 with a degree in secondary education, Bachelor of Science degree. When I graduated from college, I decided to come back to the Valley because when I graduated from college, I already had a family. We had our 4 children. I am married to Anita Lopez Afar. And when I came back, I chose to pursue my career in the social work field instead of education, because I thought at the time that I was more effective in helping the low-income families in our area. So I started working for the Texas Department of Human Services with the food stamp program, helping our needy families. And I worked there for 13 years. After that, during that time, I was elected to the PSJA School Board together with Fernando Mancias, who is now one of our district judges. I served from 1984 for 3 years, and then I sought re-election and got elected again in 1987. And while I was serving the school board during that time, I had the honor to serve the PSJA school district with Mr. Carlos Villegas, who currently is a board member. And we had very successful years while serving in the school board, where because of our accomplishments in helping our children in PSJA and our teachers, we were a candidate to be recognized as a state board at the state level. And we came in 4th place because of the accomplishments that we were able to partake while I was there in the school board. Right now, after that, then I started working for the district with PSJA as a school committee liaison. I worked at Memorial since it was open, and I retired after serving 26 years with the PSJA school district. I was working with the at-risk students as a school committee liaison with a dropout recovery program with our at-risk students to make sure that they return back to school and keep in school, and hopefully help them graduate, help them with the issues that were keeping them away from school. And I really found this career very rewarding because of the help that we were providing our students. And I am willing to, I did retire 26 years, and I am coming out of retirement because I hear in the community of the problems that right now we have in our district, and I want to help get our district back in the right direction. I am willing to help our teachers and our students try to give them whatever resources they need to ensure that we have the best education possible for our students and give the resources that our teachers need. So I have the time to dedicate to the school board and make sure that we get PSJA on the right track. I thank you for this opportunity, and I hope that I can get your support to serve you in our school board come November the 3rd. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Salinas. Some of you touched on this in your opening remarks, but I'll ask the question because I think it is an important one. And the following questions we'll do from now on, we'll have a 2-minute response limit. Why are you running for school board, and what makes you a better candidate for the position than your opponent? And we'll start off with Ms. Garza.
Yes, sir. So I kind of jumped, I guess, to that question when I started. And so, I'm trying to turn on my camera. And so I go back to, again, my educational experience and everything that I've gone through, definitely starting from working as a paraprofessional, 2 years there, getting my degree, finalizing that, working as a school teacher for 7 years in the secondary, 8th grade, all the way up to 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th grade classrooms, and then eventually moving on into secondary administration. And so I feel my background experience alone, knowing the academic language that goes with being a school board member, being an educational leader, teacher, I feel I have that background knowledge. And so I definitely am a team player, and I stress and harp on and advocate for what we do for one, we do for all. And especially here in PSJA, we are a Far South Juan Alamo community. And most definitely, we went from No Child Left Behind to Every Student Succeeds Act. And so it's still very important that we as leaders ensure that we identify every student as a whole. We address their needs in a timely manner. And I feel that I have all that to contribute not only to the board, but to our educational administration and or to teachers or to your AFT program with questions. I feel I can confidently address issues and concerns because I'm living it and I'm experiencing it just like you. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Garza. The same question, why are you running for school board, and what makes you a better candidate than your opponent? Mr. Guajardo.
Okay, well, thank you. To touch on this, the decision to run for school board wasn't an easy decision to make. It was, I consulted with, of course, my wife and my family, my kids, my parents. It wasn't a fly-by-night decision that we decided to do. It was a collaboration of my family and looking into the pros and the cons that may be associated with this. One being, do I have the time to dedicate myself to this position? I'm a big family man. I enjoy being with my family, and was I going to be able to dedicate the time needed to become a board member? Now, Like I mentioned before, I've always been involved in community service at a very young age. I've got 20 plus years experience in doing that. So when we had these discussions, we decided to pursue this goal. Okay, I was approached by several multiple citizens out there that had some concerns with the district, and I listened to them and felt that, you know what, there may be a need to get a voice in there of the community to listen to these needs or to listen to these issues that may be going on in the district. If you know me, I'm a man of integrity, honest, and transparent in everything I do. And that's the way. That's exactly what I want to do and implement if I do get on the board. Again, I'm all about community. I'm all about serving. I'm all about our kids and our students. So I want to take that to the next level and serve on the board and help our district flourish. The decision to run was not. I was not persuaded in any way to run. It's a decision we made, and I'm looking forward to do that. If I do get on, I don't proclaim to be anybody else than who I am. I'm Ruben Guajardo. I'm going to treat the school district as I treat my family. Decisions I'm going to make, I'm going to consider them, these decisions, in the best interests of the district. And like I said, I treat those decisions like I'd make decisions at home. Okay. I don't proclaim to be anybody else than who I am again. I don't proclaim to be an engineer, an attorney, an accountant. I feel that the district has these professionals in place, and they're going to provide us with the information needed to establish or to look at the information, to make a wise decision. Okay, I have my trust in the process right now with the district, and I'm looking forward to serve. Okay, so again, I want to thank you for being here, and thanks again.
Thank you, Mr. Guajardo. Mr. Perez, the same question. Why are you running for school board, and what makes you a better candidate than your opponent?
Well, Zachary and members, I can tell you right now, because I'm running because I've been asked to run and run again by my community members, by PSJA employees, and by my friends. That's why I'm running, because they want me to continue to serve them and be their advocate and be their voice and vote on the board. I am the best candidate because I'm not a follower. I don't follow other board members to vote the way they want me to vote. I'm not a follower. I'm a leader. My opponent is a follower. He followed the previous board members and voted with them for the right along. And now he follows the Zambrano brothers doing the same thing. Well, I don't do that. I do the right thing. And I vote my conscience. I know that every night I go to bed, after a meeting and we make decisions for you all, I know that I can sleep and say, you know what, I did the right thing. And I don't know anybody favors. I don't. And that's why, one of the reasons that I'm best candidate. My opponent has never brought any items or projects to the board. He just likes to sit down and get a free ride. I don't go around campuses taking pictures and laughing and smiling. I don't. When I have a chance, I do. But I can tell you right now, like I mentioned earlier, I'm serving the students of PSJA and the community and teachers in the district where I'm at, promoting them, looking for internships for them to do, having them to maybe do some interns with certain businesses, hospitals, colleges, and of course, our private business. And so I am always working. I don't have to be a full-time board member to make bad decisions. I don't have to be a full-time board member to make bad decisions. So again, as you all know me, and I work with the district, several employees know me, what I stand for and what I've done. And so I will continue to serve you, again, with integrity, dedication, commitment, and most important, compassion, because I am not happy to what's going on right now with our employees. I'm not happy to what's happening to our district. We love our district. And some people need to come in and did damage to us. Well, I'm not too happy with that. But I can tell you right now, that's why I am the best candidate, because I believe in you and I trust in our community, and I love our community, and I'll always be there for you, no matter what. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Perez. And the same question, Mr. Salinas. Why are you running for school board, and what makes you a better candidate than your opponent?
Okay, I decided to run for PSA School Board, one, because I have the experience as a former school board member. And secondly, what I've heard in the community, what's going on with the current administration, the stresses that the auxiliary staff and the support staff and the teachers and administrators are going through by this administration. I want to be part of the change to bring back to our district, the way it used to be, and take care of the needs that our staff have, and ensure that our children get the best education possible. I am a person that is responsible, that have integrity, one that honors the state laws, the policies, as opposed to my opponent who has chosen to run for an Alamo seat, breaking the gentleman's agreement, claiming that she's running not because it's an agreement that is binding, because it's just an agreement, and feels that she is a female voice, that PSA needs a female voice. And right now we do have Heather, who would be representing the female voice here in our school district. And I have the time, I am retired, and I feel that I am a better candidate because of my experience, and that because of my age also, I am very responsible, and I want the best for our staff and our children. I want them to have the best education possible that we can offer our children. I have a vested interest because I do have two daughters who are teachers in the elementary school. My children already graduated from PSJA, but I have grandchildren also that attend our PSJA school. So I want the best for all of our children here in PSJA and for our staff. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Salinas. Now we have a set of questions that are directed towards your slate as a whole, but only one of you needs to answer each of the questions. Our first question is, what are the strengths you think your slate has over the other slate?
Zach, I'll go ahead and take that one. I think the strengths that we have in our slate is a respect that we have for each other, for one another. We respect each other's opinions. I think we bring diversity to the board, through our professionalism and our life experiences, and we work well together. We can agree to disagree, and there's nothing wrong with that. I feel we share the same philosophies, which is transparency, honestly, and honesty and truth. And with that said, we also feel that there's some issues within the district that need to be addressed. And some of those issues are basically, we're not satisfied with some of the hiring practices that are going on right now, and we feel that the district needs to be more transparent. We feel that our PSJA family, which is our employees, which is our educators, such as our audience here, need to be given a fair opportunity for advancement. And we don't think that's going on right now. And I think what's most important also is we need to give our educators need to give them more time and a little more of independence so we can let our teachers go out and teach. Okay. So bottom line, the strength of our slate is that we care, and we are going to listen to any concerns. We're going to listen to our students. If it's the parents of our students, we're going to listen to our staff, our employees, our support staff, and have an open door policy. Okay, as it should be. We are going to be transparent, and I think those are the strengths of our board coming in, and I'm more confident that everybody here on our slate is going to do a great job. And and again, I thank you for this time.
Thank you, Mr. Guajardo. Our second question for you is: some people feel your slate will be influenced by political actors such as the mayor of FAR and some of its commissioners, the mayor of San Juan and some of its commissioners, and the Guajardo family. How would you respond to that? And how will you ensure voters that your slate will always act in the common good and in the best interest of the entire community?
I'll go ahead and answer that question for the slate. So when one commits a life of service to their communities, they're not actors. It is our hope that they are leaders. A lot of heart and time and commitment goes into serving a community, and above all, major sacrifice. And so I know single-handedly, my husband, who, yes, is the mayor of San Juan, does what he does to ensure federal monies and city budgets are allocated appropriately and to ensure that there's no misappropriation of funds. At the start of this campaign and throughout this entire campaign, you may have noticed I have never once mentioned up until this point or referred to my husband as the mayor of San Juan. I said yes on my own accord. I have run this campaign with him by my side as my husband, but by no means has he interfered with my thinking and logic. I am my own person who I know I have my educational background and experience to support my future as a future board member. Now to answer your question, short and simple, we need to be able to work with all local municipalities, local governments, state agencies, and federal agencies. From day one, our opponent has been deceptive, and likely has used illegal strategies. They blatantly have used PSJ school resources to aid their campaign. This is obviously apparent with their abuse of the hashtag PSJA Strong. This hashtag links their campaign with and school media posts for free. Plagiarism and use of school taxpayer resources is illegal. And we all know that this has been discussed with our opponents during previous school board meetings. Despite being alerted to these violations of the PSJ Legal Counsel, they continue to disregard the law. One would expect better behavior from our opponents. Our opponents parade their degrees, but fail to recognize that they owe their success to the education obtained here at PSJA that was overseen and led by local leadership. They fail to understand that no amount of degrees will ever authorize abuse or lack or morality as a school board member. At no point will I ever place myself or our team members in a position that directly conflicts with our role as a school board member. We will not pursue employment for financial gain from the cities of FAR, San Juan, as an EDC attorney, prosecutor, and or municipal judge at the same time. Then present a complete lack of transparency and accountability by accusing our team of being conflicted. This is just nonsense and a feeble attempt by our opponents to distract us from their own unethical and dishonest behavior. This is far more likely being raised by them as a concern due to the fact that they were both issued pink slips from the two cities for failure to behave in an ethical manner, and some people's eyes may view this as disgruntled employees. And now to answer for the Guajardo family. I'm truly honored to say I'm running with Mr. Guajardo. His commitment to his community, without a doubt, is evident. His amazing parents, his beautiful wife, and children are a true reflection on the man and the integrity of who Ruben Guajardo is. I know without a doubt that not only myself, but my team will ensure voters that our slate will always act in the common good and in the best interest of the entire PSJA community. Our teams believe in the family unit team approach. False leadership, lack of honesty, and integrity are clearly noted in our opponents' behavior and campaign strategy. Our opponents are noted frequently to use the vowel I. I did this. I established this. I made these decisions. And most disappointing is their self-proclamation of being labeled as leaders. This is not leadership. This is a clear picture of how not to act as a leader. As our culture has taught us, respect and acknowledgement of leadership is earned, not demanded. I assure you, we will focus on our attention to make sure that we are not in the spotlight. Our team is focused on your success. And by building and exceeding on PSJ's legacy, not destroying it for political points. Our goal is to lift everyone at PSJA by providing a bully-free environment and a career ladder for all employees, not just for the select few, but for those that are part of the whole entire community. So please note, our slate will always act in common good faith and in the best interest of PSJA. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Garza. Our next question for the slate is, your slate has been using the slogan, "Our PSJA Family Matters." What do you mean by that? Should your slate win, how will you show the PSJA family that they all matter? What policy changes do you envision implementing to show all employees they are valued members of the PSJA family?
I'll take that one, Zach. Yes, so our slogan is what it is, and what we mean is that everything that's happened the past 4 years, as mentioned earlier, our employees being, demoted, reassigned, made to resign, made to retire, because things did not go their way. And so, one thing that I noticed, I like I said earlier, I know a lot of people in PSJ. I work with PSJ. So I kept hearing all the things that were going on, and injustice and unfairness. I said, we have to come up with a slogan, and we need to let our people know in PSJ that they matter to us, and that we're a family, and we're going to keep it that way. There's a lot of things right now that are happening, and it's so good to hear the support that we have, because they can connect with us. They understand, and we understand what's going on. And so again, I said our PSA family matters because they matter. What are we going to do? Well, we're going to continue to improve the morale. We continue to give raises every year. We continue to make sure that nobody is going to be threatened, intimidated, and they can come in and talk to any board member. Not like right now. They're being intimidated and told not to come talk to board members, or that we have to go through the superintendent and only him. Well, I'm sorry. That's not how family go, right? As family members, we can go talk to anybody we want because we're family and we have that right. And so I feel that this is something that we're going to look at, implement something that, everybody can talk to anybody and call anybody and not be, harassed or intimidated that they're going to lose their job if they don't do that. Again, to me, the communication lines to be open from the superintendent all the way down to the custodians, that they can know and go and call the superintendent, answer the calls. Not what's happening right now. Earlier, I got a call today from an administrator and trying to get a hold of the superintendent. And, I haven't received an answer yet. That's okay. But that's not the way we do here things in PSJ. That's not the way we take care of our family members in PSJ. So again, that's a slogan, and we're going to abide by it, and we're going to enforce it, and we're going to make sure that all of you are given that right to be able to talk to any board member. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Perez. Our next question for your slate is, should only part of your slate win, do you think you'll be able to govern effectively with the other slate?
I'll take that one, Zachary. Yes, we will. I've gotten to know my slate. We have a great slate. Humble, ready, dedicated, ready to make a difference, ready to, support our employees and our teachers and our students. All I can tell you is that, we're ready to work with anybody. I've been there, and I mentioned earlier, I was in a 6-1 board, in a 5-2 board, and a 4-3 board right now. And I've gotten things done. I've got things done because I know how to do things. And my slate believe in what we all believe, that, we're going to be open-minded to any decision, whether it's, 2 of us or 3 of us or all of us. But, I believe in them. I believe that they are the right people to represent PSJA ISD. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Press. And our last and final question for the slate is, should your slate win, would you be in favor of having elected consultation or something similar to it, meaning a teachers organization like PSJA would be able to have a seat at the table to negotiate and bargain on employees' contracts, wages, and benefits?
Yes, I'll take that one, Zachary. Yes, we would. And we've discussed it, and we talked about it. Of course, with the making sure that, legal is okay and approves something like this. We're always open for it. We've talked about giving pay raises. I was one that advocated this past year for everyone under a teacher to get a 6% increased pay. I have been wanting 8 to 10%. We talked to Janet, and we came up with 6%, something that had not been done in years since I've been on the board, and everybody else got 3%, administrators and so forth. This year during the pandemic, same thing. I had a lot of calls from secretaries, administrators, principals, telling me, y'all don't have to give us anything, sir. We understand what we're going through. I'm glad to have a job. I'm glad to, be healthy. And so, yes, we understand. And again, it's very important that, we open communications with anyone, your organization, any other organization, because we have to have an open door policy. And we need your input. Believe it or not, that's how I listen to my community. And that's how our slate is going to listen to our community. And we're going to address them. And we're going to at least, make sure that we try and do whatever they're asking of us. But yes.
Thank you, Mr. Perez. We're now going to move into a set of individual questions. Each of you will have 2 questions that are just uniquely for you. We'll start with Ms. Garza in place 4. Our first question is, sometimes teachers, support staff, and paraprofessionals feel that school district administrators lose touch with what it's like to be in the classroom or a support staff role. How can you avoid that, and how would you take into account the perspectives and interests of teachers, support staffs, and paraprofessionals? You're on mute, Ms. Garza. You're on mute. You have to unmute yourself.
Okay, there we go. So thank you for this question. First of all, as you know, I have been an educator for 20 years, and I started my educational career as a paraprofessional, working in the classroom, providing support to special education students and bilingual students. I finished my college education and got my bachelor's degree in science. Because I knew I wanted to become an educator, I further pursued my secondary education by obtaining my master's in educational leadership. I have worked my way up the ladder, and all the while knowing the importance of being part of an educational organization. I strongly feel that all educators in all levels should belong to an organization. Organizations such as yourselves provide information to us, educators, whenever we have questions or concerns. You guys act as advocates for us and provide us with the guidance needed through the educational process that we sometimes need. And secondly, it is imperative that as administrators, we learn to listen actively to our staff, have an open door policy, meet regularly with them, and allow them to voice their concerns. Many times, their perspectives on what is happening throughout the campus is of great value. And so as an administrator, you do get caught up in the daily routines of running a campus and making sure that SMART goals are being met, but as well as the safety and well-being of the campuses needing to be on track. This is when us as administrators, or your administrators, your staff, become the eyes and ears of what's going on. So together, better decisions can be made to ensure that administrators are focused and making the best decisions for the campus with your help. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Garza. Our next question is for Mr. Guajardo. What will you do to ensure voters you will govern with integrity, honesty, and transparency?
Thank you, Zach. Well, like I mentioned earlier, I think the best thing we can implement is going to be an open door policy. I believe in transparency. Like I said, I believe if we have an open door policy, that allows members of the community, the public, our employees, our staff members to come in and sit down with us and discuss any issues or concerns they may have. Educators such as yourself, we want to be available to you. Okay. And I'll speak honestly with these individuals and let them know exactly how I feel about a situation. And again, being very honest and upfront with everybody. I think that's the best option we can do. Again, is we're willing, or I'll be willing to meet with any individuals at any time. If it's via emails or telephone or in person, whatever it is, I will make myself accessible. Okay, and again, to listen to any concerns that the district may have. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Guajardo. Our next question will be for Mr. Perez. Mr. Perez, have you ever regretted any of your vote? Have you ever regretted any of your votes as a board member? If so, what was the vote? Why do you regret it?
Yes, thank you, Zachary. Thinking about it, I've always done the right thing. I know during my first 4 years, it was the first time on the board, though I had served 12 years in the city council, Alamo City Council. I did see some things, that I didn't agree with. And so there was a time that it was very tempted to go ahead and start, I guess, voting with other colleagues of mine back then. But I thought about it and I said, I can't do this because that's not who I am. I'm trying to remember, honestly, very hard right now to see if there was one time that I did vote and regretted it. Gosh, I guess, maybe one time that they had reassigned some individuals. One thing that I did ask, as long as, the documentation was there, actually one individual. And so I always believe in second chances. I've always told several people that. And so I think that was one time that I felt that person maybe should have been given a second opportunity, even though they had documentation and everything on that person. But again, sometimes you need to hold people accountable. sometimes you need to, otherwise you let them go and it's going to continue. And so I think that decision was one that I just thought, maybe I should have just, said no and given him another opportunity. But basically, like I said, throughout my city council years, throughout this 8 years in the board, I can go home happy, content, and satisfied that I know that I did the right thing when we're up there serving you and making decisions for our school district. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Perez. Our next question will be for Mr. Salinas. Mr. Salinas, why did you decide to run for the school board again after having been off the board for a long time?
Well, again, I decided to run for school board again because I want to be part of the change to try to get our district back on the right pathway. Based on what I hear from the community, I want to help address the issues that are creating stress on our support staff, our professional staff, our administrators. I want to address those issues and come up with solutions to create a more positive working environment where teachers are allowed to teach and reduce some of the things that are imposed on them that keep them away from teaching, administrators to administer our programs. And I am retired, and I do have the time to devote to our school board on a full-time basis. So again, that's why I decided to run, because I do have the experience and I have the time to devote to our district and address the problems that our district is facing. I want to hold our administration accountable. I feel that we lack leadership at this time because of the problems that we're having. So again, I want to be part of the change to address the issues that are affecting our district.
Thank you, Mr. Salinas. We'll go back to another question for Ms. Garza. Ms. Garza, some people are concerned that as administrator, you would potentially be anti-union. What would you say to people who have that concern, and how do you see yourself working with a union such as PSJA?
As I stated previously, I'm an educator and have been part of a teachers group. And so I definitely would be pro-union. I think that everybody needs support, no matter what capacity you are in the district. And as administrators, we also need to have that support in the event that we should seek advice. I strongly feel that we should be working together to ensure that we have within the legal rights of all parties being met. As educators, we have guidelines provided by TEA, and that these must be followed. And organizations such as yourself work hard and tirelessly with legislation to understand policy and make recommendations to them as to how to implement these future policies. And so this is very important because working together can only strengthen and empower all of us as educators. And so the voice of the people is very important to me, and I know what it is to our team. And so we definitely support your teacher unions that are out there, and we definitely encourage the collaboration and the discussions to go back and forth. So thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Garza. The next question will be for Mr. Guajardo. What do you think the school board is not currently doing that it should be doing? What kind of plans or contributions would you make if elected?
Thank you, Zach. Well, as I mentioned, I am employed by the city of San Juan, which is a municipality. One thing that I have noticed, and I've noticed a disconnect between our school boards or our school district and our cities. I would like to see our district get back to working hand in hand again with our commissions, our city commissions, which is FAR, San Juan, or Alamo. Okay, I feel there's power in numbers, and when we combine together, things can get done. That will allow opportunities for PSJA and for all three cities. I think, again, I've noticed a disconnect between the district and our department, particular. They're at the Parks and Recreation within this last year. We the cities depend on the school district for facilities and to help teach our children, if it's if it's sports leagues or if events or if it's summer recreation items, summer programs. And this last year I have noticed there's some change. I'm not sure if it's due to administration or new administration coming in. But I would like to get back to the partnerships that we had. Again, getting interlocals done is very important. We noticed, things have slowed down a bit in regards to any upgrades to cities. There's in-kind donations, there's monetary donations that we can work together with in order to benefit these cities and our community. So yeah, definitely, I think we need to get reconnected. Our municipalities and our school district to work as one and benefit the three cities. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Fajardo. The next question will be for Mr. Victor Perez. The vote to hire Dr. Arredondo on as superintendent was 4-3. What was your rationale for voting against Dr. Jorge Arredondo? And to you, what are the ideal qualities of the superintendent? Oh, you're still on mute, sir. Mr. Perez, you're still on mute.
Hold on. Can you hear me?
Yeah, you're on mute.
Hello? Hello?
There.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Yeah, your microphone is working now. Yes.
I'm sorry. Okay. Yes, I don't know. But anyway, can you repeat the question? I'm sorry.
Sure. The vote to hire Dr. Arredondo on as superintendent was 4-3. What was your rationale for voting against Dr. Jorge Arredondo? To you, what are the ideal qualities of a superintendent?
Okay. So yes. So the reason I voted against the superintendent because during the interview process, and I think Heather mentioned something, that about my other colleagues on the board. This individual, to me, in my opinion, should have never been a finalist, and somehow or some way he became a finalist. When that happened, I knew that there was something that wasn't right. I did share with some of the board, and other candidates that we interviewed were much experienced, qualified, and knowledgeable to handle a district like PSJA. I know that Dr. King was here. He tried. Me and him also, same thing. I came in holding him accountable when I first came in, and the other previous board members would get upset because I would always question and I always wanted to know why, and so. But with Dr. Rondo, I made my comment right after we took the vote, and I was almost trying to be cut not to make any comments, but I did, and I said what I said, that in my opinion, and my two other colleagues agreed with me that the other individuals were more knowledgeable and experienced, and that I felt that you needed someone like that, at least experienced and knowledgeable, so we can take this district to the next level. Which again, I feel that we've gone backwards instead of forward. No communications from the superintendent right now, or communicates to certain board members right now, and that's fine. But I still am gonna question and ask and get things done. One thing that I know is that we're trying and we're questioning, and sometimes we get data, sometimes we don't get the data. And so to me, I just feel that, we're trying to do our best, but we're in the minority. And as long as we try to do the right thing, you can count that, we're not going to let down. We're not going to, right now, there's a lot of things going on with COVID-19. There's messages that we get from parents or school administrators of things that are going on, and we don't get that notification. We don't get the communication. And it's sad because how can we respond to our community members? How can we respond to our taxpayers when we don't know it and we're board members? So again, to me, things like this is going on. The concerns that I've had from employees just makes me think that, I made the right decision. And so we'll see what happens. But to me, again, we have a long way to go. We're missing devices. We ordered those devices late. I've had parents call me about that. And what do we do? We just, dropped the ball. And I think there was we had the salesman from the company, one of the companies that we bought those devices, and they were trying to, blame it on him. And he was trying to cover it and say, wait a minute, you ordered it and I ordered, so now you got to wait till we get that order out to you. But again, there's a lot of things that I feel that could be much better. We would have had a superintendent knowledgeable and experienced that could, kind of be taking care of the issues that we're going through right now. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Perez. And our last individual candidate question will be from Mr. Salinas. Mr. Salinas, should you defeat Ms. Gutierrez and should Ms. Garza lose to Mr. Jorge Zambrano, the board would once again be all male. What steps would you take to ensure that the voices and concerns of women are heard, represented, and taken into account when decisions and policies are made?
Well, if elected, I want to be the voice for everybody, both genders, male and female. I am retired, so I would take an active role to go out into the community, visit the colonias and visit with the mothers of our district and listen to their concerns and bring them to the board and address them and provide a solution to the concerns. Same way by utilizing the parent meetings that we have in our district, attend those meetings to try to solicit from the mothers that attend the meetings, what are their concerns and their needs, so that I can bring them back to the board and address them. So I would do everything that I could within my power to address the concerns that the women in our district would have and address them and come up with solutions.
Thank you, Mr. Salinas. Our next question is, what are your views about the current superintendent's job performance?
I'll take that one. Again, I think I kind of answered half of that question or most of that question in my comments earlier. But again, I feel that, right now we're struggling. I think we need to be better prepared. We're several things happening, people testing, positive. I feel that, some of the procedures, CDC guidelines have not been followed. And so I think we're just having issues that we should not be having if we would have had a superintendent with experience and knowledge of the area, the culture down here. Again, he's not from the area. And so here in the Valley, we know that it's very different compared to Houston, Dallas, Fort Worth, any other communities, because, we're different. And we are so accessible to the border and our Spanish speakers and our low-income families and so forth. So I just feel that, I think we could have been doing better. And then we'll see again what happens. But to me, I think we could have done better. And then we're struggling because of that. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Press. Our next question is, would you be willing to meet regularly with PSJA AFT leaders and members to discuss issues and how to implement and the implementation of district initiatives?
Yes, we would. I'll take that one, Zach.
Yes, Zach,
Good.
I'm sorry, Mr. Venice.
Go ahead.
I'm sorry, Zach, I'll go ahead and take this question. I mean, I most definitely, we'd be willing to meet with AFT members or leaders and other organizations out there and associations. Again, it's an open door policy we'd like to have. We'd be willing to sit with anybody out there, if it's an association, an organization, or just a general public, to discuss any issues that these individuals or these groups may have. I think it's very important. We need to sit and listen. Okay. Again, we need to listen to people's concerns out there and collaborate as a board. To see what is the best ways we can fix any issues or make things better in our district. Okay. So definitely we'll be open to sit down and discuss any issues. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Guajardo. Mr. Perez, you were starting to say something. Did you have anything to add to what Mr. Guajardo said?
Thank you, Mr. Guajardo, and thank you, Zach. But just to say, you all know me, Zach. I've always been part of your organization. You've invited me to attend your meetings. I've been there. I didn't come around when there's an election. No, I know most of your members, and I've been at your meetings. I've attended your meetings. I've answered your calls, and I've answered questions that you all have asked me. Just like some of the other organizations that I work with and are very much involved. So that was all. I was just wanted that. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Perez.
And if I may interject.
Sure.
As a former AFT member, associate member, me and my wife, when we were working for the district, currently my daughters, who are teachers, are also members of AFT. I do believe in your advocacy for, promoting the issues that teachers face in our district. So I'd be more than glad to listen to your concerns and be part of a advisory committee for the board to address the needs of our teachers. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Salinas. Our next question is, one of the greatest concerns of PSJA AFT members, 76% of those surveyed, are issues related to COVID-19 and the safe reopening of schools. What conditions must be met, in your opinion, for the safe reopening of schools before both teachers and students would return for face-to-face instruction? Would you bow to state, local, internal, or public pressure to reopen schools, or would you keep them closed till it's truly safe to return based on objective, scientific, and health standards?
I'll go ahead and answer that for the group. So first and foremost, I believe as an acting board member, it would be our responsibility to ensure the safety and the well-being of all of our employees and staff members and students. I believe this pandemic, COVID-19, has been the single most important issue that our district is facing right now. And having to do virtual learning since after spring break, this has been a very difficult and challenging time for all of our students, teachers, support staff, and the district as a whole. But trying to understand that the guidelines provided by TEA, the governor, the county, county officials, district officials, and the CDC have been very challenging, ensuring that all safety of all is most important right now. We must adhere to all the guidelines we are receiving, sometimes daily, and be fluid as far as the changes. But we must also follow the science, the doctors, medical personnel, CDC, etc., the data, to see if we are slowing down the spread of the virus before we open up our schools. I fully support opening our schools when it is safe and when we all feel we have the necessary PPE equipment, cleaning supplies, teaching resources, etc., to safely return to campus. For now, we must ensure that every student has the devices and resources needed to help them while they are learning virtually. Our teachers have gone far above and beyond the call of duty for this, and I am very grateful and appreciative of that. I know that the students need to return to school as soon as possible, but not but not only for their learning, but for their social, emotional, and well-being. I see it in my own two boys, how simply being at home on a computer all day has not been healthy for them. But again, when it is safe and the district is sure it can return back to face, we will be we will be at a challenge. But we are all in this together. And I know that as a board, we will make the necessary adjustments when needed, keeping always in mind the safety and the well-being of our PSJA family. Right now, surveying the landscape of the RGV and recognizing that we are still a hotspot, I currently do not support, and I know our team does not support returning back to school until we know the safety is balanced. So, thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Garza. Our next question is, despite the board passing a workplace bullying policy in September 2019, 50% of PSJA AFT members surveyed still say workplace bullying is a major issue. What would you do to further address this issue and ensure PSJA ISD is not a toxic working environment for all its employees?
I'll go ahead and take that one, Zachary. Yes, it's so sad that that's happening. It's happened in the past since I came on the board. It's still happening. It's sad that some people still don't understand that, you're not supposed to, bully, intimidate, or anyone like that because for whatever reason. I think it's important that we have a policy in place, but we need to enforce it. We need to enforce it. If it's still happening, then we need to make sure that we enforce it and we hold those people accountable that are doing the bullying to their other classmates and employees, their teachers. But it's very important that we understand that we're not going to tolerate it, and it should not be tolerated because nobody deserves to be working in an environment like that. I've been in an environment like that, and believe me, I can relate to it when I hear that. And so, to me, it's important that we look at policy again, and if we need to make it, better, then we need to work on it. And if we need to it's not be enforced, then we need to reinforce it and hold people accountable. So again, what would we do? I think we would just be able to look at policy again and have it, looked at, and then from there make a decision. So we need to amend it. Do we need to do something else, or it's just not being enforced? So again, I think that's something that we would look at to address that issue.
Thank you, Mr. Perez. Our next question, 47% of PSJA AFT members surveyed said that they were not given their required planning and prep time, and that administrators held excessive meetings. 59% of members surveyed said that they were required to do excessive paperwork by administrators. These three issues are interrelated and prevent a teacher from developing effective and engaging lessons for students. What would you do to address excessive meetings, excessive paperwork, and teachers not getting their required 450 minutes of planning and prep time?
I'll go ahead and answer this. So I understand there is a valid concern. And as a future board member, I can share my experience on this matter. It is a must that we keep the integrity of the 450 minutes of planning time for our teachers. It's critical and vital to the planning of instruction. Teachers must have planning time every 2 weeks in increments of not less than 45 minutes within the instructional day. And we must adhere to this. Anytime that this is over the 450 minutes, then this is something where we have to look at staff meetings and/or professional development to address other areas of concerns and discussions that still need to take place. So it is important to look at how our schedules look like and how we incorporate the minutes that are required to have. In some cases, strategic master schedules should be included in planning time and conference time within the instructional day. So we must remember your planning time can be used to work with instructional coordinators, deans, academic coaches, Special education teachers conference also works a little bit different, but still requires teacher input. We must look also to see if there's time in the teacher's schedule to make sure that we continue to build their capacity in the teaching field. This is where I feel professional learning communities could come into play. Another thing to consider is the amount of time teachers need to document information needed when working with LPAC committees, 504, RTI, GT students, and etc. All of these populations require additional documentation, and it takes time to complete, which is usually conducted during your conference time. As you know, managing our time is key and vital to our students' success. I strongly believe in the use of Google Docs, Google Sheets, Google Forms to help merge information where teachers can keep important documentation in one area versus the use of multiple documents across different formats. This helps cut time in half and ensures that all parties are aware of the ever-evolving documentation that is kept, especially with our special POP students that we serve. This is a truly collaborative issue and effort from the administrative team, teachers, and school staff members, all while respecting everyone's time. This is something we can always look at year after year and ensure we perfect and fine-tune this process. But something to always definitely keep in mind at the beginning and at the end of the school year. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Garza. Our next question. Recently, PSJA students were served expired milk and juice, mushy cucumbers, moldy fruit, frozen foods, and raw pizza. This is unacceptable. What will you do to hold those in charge of the nutrition program and the district operations accountable?
Okay, Zachary, I'll take that one. It's disappointing to hear this because I got some phone calls about that. I got some parents that were given some food, and I guess the food wasn't good. The milk was spoiled, and so I think the nutrition department should have looked at this, made sure that whatever they give out to our parents and our kids are in good standing, that they're fresh and not spoiled or rotten meat or whatever was served. But it's important that the director of food nutrition look into this and make sure that this doesn't happen again. And if it happens, then people should be held accountable for that. I think the superintendent, I did get a call to him and asked him if he was going to look into it. But it's important that we make sure that personnel, because there's personnel in the food service department, that make sure that they look at this and they make sure that look at the dates on this food, the milk, and if somebody serves something like that, it's not good. It's not what we're about. It's not the way things are supposed to be. So to me, it's just that the food service director, along with the superintendent, should get together and look and address this problem and look into it and make sure that this doesn't happen again. I'm pretty sure those students and those parents that have a good experience, but well, sometimes things happen. But we make sure that everybody on board in that department understands how important it is for that not to happen again.
Thank you, Mr. Press. Our next question. Many employees in the district do not file grievances because they are, one, scared to do so, believing that they will face retaliation from their supervisor, and or two, think the process will go nowhere and that the district will decide with the supervisor. What can you do to ensure that employees no longer fear utilizing the grievance process and that the district central office administration does not always automatically side with the supervisor?
I'll take that one, Zachary. That's happened for the last 8 years I've been on board. We've had some employees that had, filed a grievance. We were notified that, they were in the process. You have 10 days to be able to, when you file a level 1 grievance, you need to make sure that it's addressed and make sure that it doesn't go to level 2. Then the level 2 would come in, and then level 3 comes to the board. Well, a lot of employees would call us or call me and share with me, look, this is happening. I filed a grievance, but they keep telling me that, and they're giving excuses and over. And so we tried to, as a board back then, try to say, we need to, make sure that if file protocols and if they need to get to us, then it needs to get to us. So I know several employees that happen to, and it's very important that they due process be followed. I mean, that's what, right? That's our rights. And if you have a grievance and if it tell you that within 10 days, then that should be resolved within 10 days and not, have it there and just, making time for it to be resolved or just to see if the employees would forget about it. And I had several calls where it went days, months, and that's not good. What we would do, I think, is something that we would put in, make sure that the superintendent, excuse me, and the person in charge of hearing grievances would follow protocol and make sure that that is, reported up to the superintendent and that it followed the protocol it's supposed to have. This individual, for a reason or not, they're following the grievance. And if something is going on wrong and it's wrong, then it needs to be addressed by the supervisors and taken care of. And if not, then it needs to go to the next level. And yes, I heard, they're intimidated by their supervisors because they know this person, It doesn't matter. It not should be that way. Due process should be followed the way it's supposed to be in that order. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Perez. So for the next set of questions, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of them. I'll go around and I'll get a yes or no from you. Then we'll go back and you can elaborate. One of you can elaborate on one of those questions. So the next question is, would you support multi-year contracts for teachers, nurses, counselors, and librarians? Ms. Garza.
Yes.
Mr. Guajardo.
Yes, definitely.
Mr. Perez.
Yes, sir.
And finally, Mr. Salinas. Oh, you're on mute, sir.
Yes, I would support it.
Thank you, Mr. Salinas. Next question. Would you support extending contracts to support staff, paraprofessionals, and hourly employees so they can become full members of the PSJA family and will no longer be at-will employees? Ms. Garza.
Yes, most definitely.
Mr. Guajardo?
Yes, definitely I will support it.
Mr. Perez?
Yes, sir.
And finally, Mr. Salinas.
Yes, I would.
Thank you, sir. The next question. Would you support adding an additional 5 local sick/personal days for all employees due to the novel coronavirus pandemic? Ms. Garza.
Yes, for sure.
Thank you. Mr. Guajardo.
Yes, I will.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Perez.
Yes, sir.
And finally, Mr. Salinas.
Yes, sir.
Oh, you're on mute again, sir.
Absolutely, I would support
Okay,
it.
thank you. Next question. Would you support paid maternity and/or paternity leave for PSJA employees? Ms. Garza.
Yes, most definitely.
Mr. Guajardo.
Yes, sir, I will.
Mr. Perez.
Yes, I would.
And Mr. Salinas.
Yes, I would.
Thank you, sir. Next question. Would you support a living wage of at least $15 an hour for all employees? Ms. Garza.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Guajardo.
Yes, I definitely support that.
And Mr. Perez.
Yes, sir.
And finally, Mr. Salinas.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. And our last would you support question. Would you support a McCrell-like evaluation of administrators that will be completed by the teachers, paraprofessionals, and support staff who work with that administrator on a daily basis? This McCrell-like evaluation would be a component of administrator's overall evaluation. Ms. Garza.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Guajardo.
Yes, I'd support that.
And Mr. Perez?
Yes, sir.
And finally, Mr. Salinas. Oh, you were on mute again, sir.
Yes, I would support that.
Yes, thank you. So we'll go back and let you elaborate and give more of your views on those questions. So our first question was, would you support multi-year contracts for teachers, nurses, counselors, and librarians? Would someone want to elaborate?
Yes, I will. Zachary, right now, if I'm not mistaken, we have administrators on 2-year contract, principals and administration that are out there. Of course, when we have good teachers, we want to retain them. We have good paraprofessionals, then we want to retain the employees. So yes, I definitely would, support something like that, and I think that our Slate would, because we all think about our employees, but it's something I think that we need to look at and make sure it can be done. But as far as we're concerned, and I'm concerned, most definitely. And then of course, you have good employees. You gotta make sure that you keep them, and especially if they're doing a great job, and you don't want them to leave. And I think it's a good incentive. It's something that it's something that doable. But again, we need to take it to make sure that legal is, and all that. I mean, we can say that we're in favor of it, but we need to also, when time comes, it would something to look at legal. So
Thank you, Mr. Perez. Our next question for elaboration would be, would you support extending contracts to support staff, paraprofessionals, hourly employees so they can become full members of the PSJA ISD family and no longer be at-will employees?
again, that one, Zachary, again, is something that would be an ideal. I don't know if any district in the state of Texas has that, but it's something that we would definitely, be open to. And again, with legal advice and make sure that we're in compliance. Going back to basically just making sure that it can be done. I think we're in favor of doing anything that we can do for our employees.
Thank you, sir. Our next question for elaboration will be, would you support adding an additional 5 local sick personal days for all employees due to the novel coronavirus pandemic?
I'll go ahead and answer that. And so the answer was yes, of course. And so whatever is supported by our current policies and or any options that are given, we always want to go back to what does our current budget allow and what are the current policies that could be negotiables that the state may be offering school districts regarding additional sick days for all employees. These are always something to consider to put on the table if available.
Thank you, Ms. Garza. Our next question, would you support paid maternity leave or paternity leave for PSJ employees?
I think we would. Again, I'll take that one. But I think we would. And again, everything of these questions, and I looked at the questions, and as long as they're doable and approved by legal and make sure that we can do it, yes. And I know there's FMLA right now and so forth, but yes, I think we would be something that we would look into. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Our next question, would you support a living wage of at least $15 an hour for hourly employees?
I'll take that one.
I'll take that one, Mr. Perez.
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
Yes, as I stated, I mean, definitely we'd be supporting the, a raise at any time. Getting them to $15 an hour would be something we'd like to look into if the budget allows. Number one, we're all for raises throughout the district. If it's hourly wages or raises, if it's contractual type salaries, I mean, definitely we're looking to benefit our employees. I know during this pandemic, we're struggling in regards to our economy, and we know we're out to support every employee of our district in the best way we can. So definitely we're looking to raises and getting the starting pay up to $15 an hour would be beneficial.
Mr. Perez, you were starting to talk. Did you have anything to add?
Yes. So, Zachary, we already have some employees earning $12 an hour close to $13 an hour. So we're almost there. And so in this past 4 years, I know that I've been an advocate for higher pay raises for our staff, for our employees, for our teachers. And again, I think Mr. Guajardo said it very well. You have to look at the economy, you have to look at things like this. And my concern is the budget. And the reason I'm saying is because we don't know how the state is going to fund this. We don't know how things are going to turn out. I know that we were waiting for a taxi grant, $3 million that we're waiting for. And hopefully I have not been communicated we got it funded or not. And if not, then, those are things that if we're done, then we have to pay it back. It's a debt for us. And if we got the grant, that's great. It helps us out to continue, operating in a good, positive way. So again, it's important. But we've always done that. Since I've been an advocate, and I said something 8 years ago that this is one of my goals, is to get all the employees the best pay raises and the cost of living, because again, it keeps going up, as we all know. And gas is not cheap, and food is now with the pandemic had gone up. So again, we're all for that. We're all for our employees to get them the maximum of increase that we can, and to get them to the highest level that we can. So thank you.
Oh, thank you, sir. Our last question for elaboration: would you support a McCrell-like evaluation of administrators that would be completed by the teachers, paraprofessionals, and support staff who work with the administrator on a daily basis? This McCrell-like evaluation would be a component of the administrator's overall evaluation.
I'll answer that. So yes, it's important to know how our teachers, support staff, administration, etc., feel about their current administrators, and how they're performing in their duties as a campus administrator. It is important to see that these concerns that they have are heard, and their voices as well to what might get better. And so this allows for better communication, understanding, and ensuring that the goals of the campus are being met. So working collaboratively with all the stakeholders is very important. As high-stake testing and its results are critical, so is the culture and climate of a campus. This can surely help the administrators become stronger and efficient in running a campus. So I definitely would agree with having a McCrell-like evaluation.
Thank you very much, Ms. Garza. So now we're going to go into our last and final question for the night, which will also serve as like a closing statement for you all. And the question is, what do you consider to be your greatest strength or experience that makes you an ideal candidate for the school board? And we'll start off with Ms. Garza.
Yes, again, I'm just truly honored to be in the running of a school board candidacy place. And so it's been a humble experience for sure these past couple of months, diving deep into all of the issues and the concerns that are currently here within our PSJ family, PSJA ISD district. And I feel that, again, my background experience alone, with my master's degree in educational leadership, with my experience of 7 years being a principal, 8+ years being a teacher, being in the front lines, working with students day to day, knowing what it takes to be a teacher, knowing what it takes to be an educational dean, academic coach, knowing what it takes to be a principal and a coordinator. It's a lot. It's a lot that we go through. And I feel that I can represent our administrators, represent our campuses amongst the district in an equal and fair manner, and come to the table and realistically address issues and concerns in a timely and effective manner, because we have the turnaround is huge in education. And so when we make decisions and we implement new programs, new strategies, we only have to close gaps really about 6-7 months in a year with these students. And so it's very critical that we have a plan of attack. We know what we're going to do at the start of the school year. We set up our 90-day goals. we look at our campus needs improvement, we look at our campus improvement plan, needs assessment, and we follow what we say, what we need to do, and accountability at the forefront. And I feel that I can contribute and help and assist in that with our board and with the major discussions going on right now with COVID-19 and the transition into what our educational landscape is going to look like in the future. And maybe the future could be December or January. And so I feel I have the know, I feel I have the experience to offer this great support that we currently need as we move forward in the 2021-22 school year. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Garza. Mr. Guajardo, the same question. What do you consider to be your greatest strength or experience that makes you an ideal candidate for the school board?
Thank you, Zach. Well, as mentioned earlier, I mean, I feel my character, integrity, and willingness to do what's in the best interest of the district as a whole is my strength. Again, I mentioned that I'm in it for the right reasons. I'm going to give it 100%. Students, staff, and educators are my first priority. And I feel in general that my experience throughout the years, giving back to the community and listening to people out there, I know I'll do a great job being on the board. And one thing that I'd like everybody to understand is, again, if I do get the opportunity to represent, on the school board, any decisions I'll be faced with are going to be decisions that I make out of my heart. Okay, what I believe it's in the best interest of the district as a whole. I will not be influenced by any third party or anybody else out there. As mentioned earlier, I agree our slate can work together as a team. I'm a team player. I'm willing to listen to the issues at hand, and I'm willing to work with anybody that's on the school board. Okay, again, to make sure it's in the best interest of PSJA. Again, I want to thank you guys for allowing me to be here tonight. You guys have a good night and God bless.
Thank you, Mr. Guajardo. Mr. Perez, the same question. What do you consider to be your greatest strength or experience that makes you an ideal candidate for the school board?
Well, like I said earlier, Zach, I have done the right thing. I bring knowledge, I bring experience, my commitment and dedication to our district. I work full-time job, but in that work, line of work that I have, I'm always having the students of PSJA in mind and parents. And so it's very important that, someone like that continues to, advocate and be able to do that there, for what I'm doing, instead of being retired, not doing anything but taking pictures and doing this and that. It's not what it's about and saying, I'm your board member. No, board members work all the time. And that's what I bring to the table, my experience, my knowledge, my compassion for our employees and our students and parents. I feel that I've done so much that I want to share and I've experienced through life. And so it's always, good to see our students grow up and become lawyers, doctors, engineers. I've had students of mine that now they still call me coach because I was coaching in PSJA, and it makes you feel good that you see them and you talk to them, and now they have their own families. They've been successful. And I had one that made a comment on my Facebook page and said, Mr. Perez, because of you, I'm where I'm at, and I could have gone the wrong way. And so I know that I'm doing the right thing. I know that I'm the right person because I'm not just, hanging around taking pictures. I'm actually a hands, and I'm the voice and the vote for people that need a voice and the vote, and those that don't have anybody to speak up for them. That's why I get all these calls, all kinds of hours, and I take them. It doesn't matter to me what time it is, because I am a public servant, and I've been a public servant for almost 20 years or more. I want to continue serving our community. I want to continue taking our district and bring it back to our own community, our PSJ community. It belongs to us, not to no one else or outsiders. And so we need to think about the future. I've said it before, and I've said it to people that I've talked to in the community. This district belongs to us. We're the taxpayers, and you choose who you want it to be. And so what I've offered is just all I said is, you have someone that will be your voice and make the right decisions, and not be with somebody else because they're my friends or because they're asking me to do that because I want a free ride to continue serving you all. It's not about that. I don't need free rides. The people in Alamo and the PSJ School District did not have an opponent for me. Why? Because I've done a good job, not because anything else. And my opponent says that I got a free ride, that's why he decided to run against me. So sad that he thinks like that. It's so sad that he claims to have all these years experience in education and this and that. Well, it's about ethics, and it's a sinful thing to do. I wouldn't have done that to anyone, but it's a simple thing to do as a public servant, to do something like that. And for him to do that, they make room for someone that's from outside Alamo. Alamo deserves there's 2 seats. They need the representation. And the other person on the other side talks about women. We have you heard it tonight. We have a hell of a lady on our slate. She's knowledgeable in education, and she can explain and tell you. Not someone that couldn't pass her professional test and couldn't teach it. So again, what is it? I picked the great slate because I want PSJ to be successful and move forward. I told some people I walk in the streets, you'd think if they were that good, I would have been running with them. But no, I've seen it. And no more of that. And I ask for your support for our slate because we are honestly humble, as you heard us and you've seen us. And we are dedicated and committed, but most of all, we have the integrity to do the right thing and be transparent to you all. Thank you and good night.
Thank you, Mr. Perez. And finally, we'll go to Mr. Salinas. What do you consider to be your greatest strength or experience that makes you an ideal candidate for the school?
Well, again, the fact that I've served in this capacity as a school board member and previously, my experience, the fact that I'm retired, we would be your full-time school board member. And I want the best for our district, for our children, for our staff, our teachers. And I won't let you down. I want to be your voice in our school board to address any concerns that you might face in your profession, and help give you the tools that you need to be the best teachers that you can be for our children, because they are our future and we want the best for our children in PSJA.
Thank you, Mr. Salinas. That wraps up all our questions for tonight. I would like to thank all the candidates that were here tonight for joining us. So thank you, Ms. Garza. Thank you, Mr. Guajardo. Thank you, Mr. Perez. Thank you, Mr. Salinas. Just a reminder, early voting starts on October 13th and it continues all the way through October 30th. Election day is November 3rd. Please go out and vote because it will shape the future of our country, our state, and our district. Thank you, everyone, for joining. Have a great night.
Thank you, AFT. Have a good evening.
Thank you, Zach. You all have a good evening. Thank you.
Thank you, Zach and AFT members. It was a pleasure and a privilege. Thank you.
Thank you, AFT, for your support.